Today, we are going to talk about something very important to all VTubers, which is the various face tracking apps that we use to actually run these models. And it's making my face look all weird right now. So, there are a lot of them out there, just a lot of them. Uh, there's all sorts of them, but there's a few that stand out. Uh, this is one of them. I'm currently, as you can see by the little icon down the corner here, corner, yep, that corner, that I'm using FaceRig right here. And I do this for one reason only, uh, because it's the first one on my list. Yeah. So, I also find that it's got one of the best trackers of the ones I'm going to show you, but it's not, the greatest thing sliced bread, and it has some issues, and we're going to get into those today. But for now, I'm just starting off using this. We'll do some other stuff later. And as you can see to the side of me here, yes, that side, uh, I'm going to be showing how CPU intensive these are to use as I'm doing this. Uh, I'm a little bit um, behind on my CPU compared to like other aspects of my system. Like I have a lot of RAM, but my CPU is like 3 or 4 years old. I'm not even sure anymore. I really could use an update, but that's besides the story. Uh, we're going to track the performance of it while we're doing all these and see what it looks like because it's going to go up and down and all over the place. And as a V streamer, a VTuber, a virtual person in general, CPU usage is going to be sort of a bottleneck for us because whatever we play has to fit into how much CPU usage we can have. So that's why it's up there. And it's going to stay up there this whole time. Now, I'm going to switch to one of the other ones that we're going to show off. Hang with me here. And we're back. Now we are using what is called PRPR Live. And this is generally free. Uh, it doesn't come with some of the extras that FaceRig does, which probably explains why they can get away with being free for, typical use. Um, but that also meant that I had to go and find the models to be able to do this because it wasn't happening otherwise. So that said, uh, it doesn't have quite as good a tracking. Like I wear glasses, and when I have my own model, as you're gonna see in probably a month from when I'm doing this, uh, my model will have glasses too. And PR Live does not do eye tracking very well when you wear glasses. And you'll see my eyes don't really move much compared to when we were on FaceRig. And it likes to drop out sometimes, and I'm not quite sure what we can do to fix that. I've adjusted lots of settings to try to, do something with that. But so far, no go. It does have much lower CPU usage, as you can see to the side here. Uh, So that part is good, but not quite up to the standards that we had before. Uh, and I would love to use this all the time. If I could just get the eyes to move like I want them to, you'll see that they sometimes do, and others they don't at all. Um, and I kind of cut out and go in. Part of that is just that my camera sits probably about a foot away from me, and that means my face is also like tiny on the little charts that they show. I'm maybe a sixth of the screen, so that's an issue. So that's definitely an issue, yes. But I, I can't really get the camera closer or it would be in front of the screen. So there's not much I can do there. Uh, I just gotta kind of live with that. Anyways, here we are. You can see me doing the basic moves and everything. This is the same model, but a simpler form. Because it doesn't come with any real models to test this with, I had to go searching. I found a place to find those models. Hang on 1 second and I'll bring those up for us here. Okay, it took some adjustments, but I managed to fit everything on the page all at once, which is impressive because you can't really tell, but there's a lot really going on all at the same time here. But uh, Cubism, the people behind Live 2D in the first place, which is what this model runs, and uh, also the ones I was using in FaceRig, they have a bunch of sample models. And as you can see here, uh, there's a fairly open license as long as you're not a big time like company using these to actually just go and use the models. Uh, not not like just anything, but within some very fairly limited restrictions. So that's good for us. And as you can see here, it shows that there's pro versions and there are the free versions, at least if they offer a free version. I'm way, way down here because I use the Epsilon model, and I could use any of the others, but after a quick test, this is the one that seemed to be the most expressive for me. Here we are, and you can see it has a pro and a free version. Well, the free version is what I'm using in PR Live, and when I was back in FaceRig, they used the pro version. So I don't get all the fancy functions that you sort of see to the side of me. I move my head. Those are all cut out on the free version, so not quite as advanced. That's going to limit our comparison a little bit, but it's the best I can do. Uh, Mostly because I don't have a reason to buy a pro license to Cubism. Uh, So I don't have access to that model. But PRPR can use any of these, and they seem to all run fine. I have all the free ones, and I tested them all out before deciding that I want to use Epsilon, as it's the best out of the free ones for me. And there's a couple of models that, even in their free version, do have some more restrictions. Like one of them, it talks about how you can't do anything that the original creator of the AV wouldn't do because it's part of her image, and she's just allowing them to put it up here so people can like study how to create live 2D stuff. Uh, so they warn you in big letters not to go and use that to do things that she would not appreciate. So we're going to respect that, and I didn't use that one. Besides, she looks like a little kid, and I just don't want to be that little. I'm fine with being little, but not that little. Get me? But it does most of the same things that we saw in FaceRig. And now that you can see, I'm recording everything, and I have the web browser up. CPU usage is back up a little from when we started doing this. Uh, so that is a thing. And I think that's it for now. We're going to jump to the third one, and the third one does not use Live 2D. I wish, I could do that, but can't. And it just does not have Live 2D support. That's one of the other ones I manage. Um, there are a couple other programs I'd like to use, but they're pretty much in Japanese, and I'm not fluent at reading Japanese. I can speak it a bit, and I can understand it when it's spoken most of the time. I at least get the gist of anything they say, but I can't read. I just can't. So, That's a thing. And that means I can't use one I'd like to, which is called Bluff It. I've heard good things about that, and that was the other contender for the next category, the 3D model programs. But I can't realistically decide to spend $60 on a program I may not be able to read the settings in. So we're going to skip that one and go to another free one now. So hang on one more minute. And here we are in VC Face. So as you can see, this is the startup. I have to select a model, and they have one example model. So that's what we're going with. Uh, You can see a lot of different settings here. They just added Wink support, so we're running with that as well. And here I am. But it's taking a second or two to. Oh, there we go. Ooh, yeah, the tracker likes to work a little bit before you can really animate yourself. So yeah, I gotta move my face around to get to do what we want it to. And then we hope. So that's the thing. But this is a full 3D model. Uh, Probably not the most advanced because it's a sample. We don't have use to do anything uh, feel like with it either. But it's a good example of what 3D models are going to look like. Uh, does a decent job at that. So the mouth is weird, and I wish I could fix that. It's okay when it's small. When you start to open your mouth up, it gets a little weird. Ah, okay. Oh, play. Ah, I don't get the surprise face. Not making a surprise face. Yeah, yeah. It's a little buggy, tracking wise for me. I don't know why, but just like face rig, I can wear glasses and that's fine. Uh, it doesn't mind that at all, and it seems to do eye tracking fairly well. I mean, I can look over here and look over there, and my eyes move like they're supposed to. I can even blink. Blink. It works. Uh, and, I like it because it can actually work with my glasses. Being able to see is nice, especially if I'm supposed to be playing a game. So there's that thing. But this runs Unity. uh, So it's just like any other Unity program you might run. Play a game and it's made in Unity. Like um, us, because we were playing BattleTech and have been and will be again. Um, that's all built in Unity. So um, it's kind of an issue when I want to do those. 'Cause it can get weird. It can just get weird. Uh, Running two Unity apps at the same time, it gets weird. Uh, And also, now that we're talking about the three that I'm going to be talking about today, and I'm going to talk about some others too, but now that I've shown you all three of these, um, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the big differences that happens between the three different programs that I'm going to be showing off. Uh, that is that um, this one is, yeah, not captured as a webcam. It would be a lot easier if I could just have that as a webcam setting. Uh, you can get rid of the side stuff, which you can see here, but I have it out just because I haven't turned it off yet. And really, it doesn't matter for our talk here, anyways. But but if I did it as a webcam, like FaceRig does, there's another one I haven't found it yet. But with that, all this stuff on the side, uh, you don't get any of that, even though it's on the screen. These, I have to not have this stuff on the screen, and that can be something of an issue for us. Uh, so that's another thing to think about. Uh, and as you can see, this does not have the least amount of CPU usage either. Kind of clipping the window a little bit, I think. Hard to tell. But It's right under the usage of like face rate. So, no big giant gain there between the two. In fact, sometimes you'll see it spike up to the same levels as face rate. The performance is pretty much the same. Um, PRPR Live does actually save about 10% CPU usage for me, which is good, yes. But it's a simpler model, and I can't tell if that's the only thing that factors into that or not. Uh, I wish I knew. Really wish I knew. I don't know how I would be able to tell. So that's the thing. Also, you can sort of see my GPU usage down here on the side. It's been a little bit distant, I think, but at 30 odd percent while I'm recording and everything. That's probably about what you can expect, at least with my type of graphics card. There is also another one, and I'm gonna look weird as I do this. There's another program I have to talk about because all sorts of people use it. I have a picture, and I'll just use the picture because I tried getting this, and this is why I can't show it to you. Anyways, YouTube Studio is really popular, but it requires an app on, usually a cell phone. And as you can see from this giant list, I got like 7 devices, I think, 6, something like that, that people I knew had, and I had. Like the tablet is mine. The tablet on the list is mine. I got it for work a while ago. Uh, but no matter what device, none of my devices I could get, because they're all Android devices, are ones that are supported by the app. So I couldn't test it. Um, I do not have the shiny, newest, latest phone of any type, but no one I know even owns an iPhone. I know that may seem weird to everyone out there, but I just don't know anyone who iPhone. I know it's weird. It's very weird, I guess, but no one here does. So yeah, anything I could get access to did not actually work to support this app. So I can't test it, not even a little bit. I wish I could because it's supposed to be pretty good, and it would help with the CPU issues that we see here. Um, it would not be causing, like, oh, right now it's huge. CPU usage is huge. It's just at like 55%. That's half of all my processing power. Wow, yeah. Anyways, um, before I get even more talking about it, uh, it would get rid of all that CPU usage and put it onto the cell phone, which is why it's so helpful. A little bit of the processing would still be done on the computer, but you wouldn't be running a webcam, using the phone's resources pretty much entirely for all this, and that's why people do that. In fact, there's a long list that I'm gonna turn to here, a very long list of different software. Um, it's a combination on this list, and now that I'm looking at the list, I can't actually see uh, if you can see this too well. So let me switch over. No, you cannot, because I am in the way, and to get rid of this picture now, because the picture can go away. Uh, and let's move over again, over again. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, now that you can see this, it's going to show programs either that make models or do the face support. It doesn't separate those out. I don't know why they don't separate those out exactly, but they all show up in this list, and it's a handy dandy list you can look up yourself. I've referenced it before when I was doing my research. Get started. Uh, and you see a lot of these, if you look at what they run on, we'll say like iOS or Android, and there aren't a heck of a lot of Android ones, but a lot of iOS or macOS because a lot of these are available for Mac too. I'm not on a Mac, so I can't help you there. But uh, in fact, not being on a Mac is probably why I don't own an iPhone. Probably. But if you do, that's not a bad thing. And I'm just don't own one. So that's how that goes. But you'll see YouTube Studio on that list, and you'll see, um, yeah, Up Emoji. That's another one that says it supports iOS and Custom Cast. And I looked up Custom Cast, and I will show you that now as we're thinking about that. That's this here. Um, and, and I got this to run, but it's not like these. You don't really have a model made for you by someone, like you do, you know, for other apps. Uh, this you sort of create your own model based on resources they give you access to, and it's really pretty. And it works on my phone, so hey, that's something. Actually, it worked on a couple of my devices, my tablet being the one I actually tried it on, because I like my tablet. I prefer it to look at over my phone, much bigger screen. That's nice as far as I'm concerned. But I played around with it, and I made a model based on what they give me, and it was okay. But I probably would not stream with that because you don't get to customize. I mean, there's ways you can customize your avatar in there. You can adjust bust size even. Uh, funny. But you can adjust bust size settings and eye settings and positioning but if you're not an artist or a photographer, which I actually am, I do a lot of photography. I haven't done it in a while now, but I even taught a bit of photography before. So I know the principles behind, the makeup of people's faces and how they should look. Uh, so I have a background that lets me do that a little bit easier than some. But even I couldn't come up with something uh, I was happy with because you're limited in choices, your hairstyles, all that stuff. And they even separate hair in some weird categories like the front of your hair and the back of your hair and these little like twin tails that come down off in front of your ears. Just those separately to make a hairstyle. Like 4 or 5 components to making a hairstyle. It was kind of weird. But a lot of those don't really go together. So you're kind of stuck with a much more limited selection than you might think. Um, but I played with it and got to see what that was like. And you'll see it, hasn't been updated in a while either. So there's that. But they have an entire store. Um, Probably how they make money. So, I can't diss that too much. But that's probably their focus. But if you're starting out and you can support it, and it might be an option, uh, you do get to make your own luck that way. It's completely valid. But I decided not to really include it here in our little talk because I'm not sure if um, I'd really want to use that long term, and it seemed to have a lot of limitations that's kind of hard to talk about being able to show you. In fact, that was one of the reasons I'm not talking about it, is because I couldn't record correctly. Let me say that it was hard to get the images I wanted to show you the interface come up here. So I didn't include that. But it's perfectly valid if you like it. And and here's the Muppet site that we talked about earlier. I really wanted to play with this, but if my math is right, it costs like $60 for a general user license. And I wouldn't have a model to use with it because it uses 3D models just like Face here. Um, so I did not include that. But I would love to try it sometime if I could see what it's like. I just am too worried that eh, being Japanese made and I have to pay in Japanese money even, that it might be a little hard for me to understand. So I did not really play with that. Um, just to show you some other things, here is PRPR Live. Get that on Steam. And it is free for the basic version. They sell all sorts of this, mod content stuff for it, so that's a thing. Um, and you can't see it here because this is the web version rather than my Steam site. But yeah, there's options that I bought those to test them out, and we're gonna get back to that in a second here because I think I'm done with the 3D part of this discussion. But we're gonna go back to the live 2D. We're gonna bear down on the real brass tacks about the differences between programs. So I will see you in a minute after I clean all this stuff up.